we're all set.
Okay. Hey, this is Cher Bartlett. I'm a member of My Lead System Pro, which is an educational tool to help people in the home business arena. And I am so excited today. I have the pleasure of getting to know a little bit better Marty McDowell, who is an L4 leader inside My Lead System Pro and a member of their Master Marketers team. What that means is Marty is a rising star. He's a fast mover and top producer, as well as a mentor to so many of us in the home-based arena. Welcome, Marty. Did I get that right?
You got part of it right and all the good parts. And that's what, I think what's fun about doing these interviews is everybody gets to get out there and start, acting themselves as a leader, which by you doing these types of things puts you right there. Just to correct you, I'm an L3 leader, not L4, but we'll get there soon enough.
Okay, great. Well, why don't we kind of start out, if you could share with people how you got started in the industry and a little bit about yourself and your story. I think people would be interested in that.
Absolutely. So a little bit about me. Started off as a corporate professional out of college, just getting out of school. I had a degree in human resources, and I quickly gravitated towards recruiting, the recruiting function within a couple of small companies. And then I helped start my own staffing firm with a few other people and became more of a quote-unquote headhunter. And at that point, which was a few years into my career, I really had that entrepreneurial bug, and I got into real estate on the side with a couple of friends, and that worked out really well. It was the late 90s and early 2000s where there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the real estate world. Prices were going up and properties were going up in value and money was cheap, and it's the perfect storm for that. And I started that, but that really started to get my entrepreneurial bug really going. I come from an entrepreneurial family. Many of my parents included all work for themselves in one way, shape, or form. So for me, going into a corporate position all the time, even though I really do love headhunting and recruiting, and I still do some of it, I was looking for something more, and it first started into real estate. And then through the real estate, I had my first online or internet marketing experience, which turned out pretty poorly. And I took a little bit of a step back after a little while, and it took me a long time to kind of find something that was the right thing for me online. Actually, it took about 4 years to be exact. And during those 4 years, I got introduced to network marketing, which I used to run from. I ran from it multiple times. I just never got the concept, and I was introduced to a company in late 2007, early 2008, which really caught my eye, and I finally started to understand it and became a student in network marketing. And I've been with MLSP shortly thereafter that. In the middle of 2009, I got back in online and started doing internet marketing. So that's a little bit about me, just on a kind of an overall picture. As I said, I've been with MLSP really in earnest since 2010. I got introduced to it in 2009, but I didn't really see some of the things that I saw later on that really helped propel me in my business. And for the past 18 months especially, I've been gung-ho and going full force within MLSP. So there's a little bit about me.
Cool. That is awesome. You've had a kind of a long road to your journey, and
Sure.
I know a lot of us find it that way. When I met you, we were at an event called Live the Dream that MLSP had in San Diego, and that was just about 3 weeks ago. And I remember seeing your story up on the screen and how you had shared with your family that you were going to find a way to be able to play golf at least a couple times a week, and that they kind of giggled at you thinking, oh, wow, yeah, when you find it, let me know.
Exactly.
So I know. Tell us a little bit about that, and how, are you able to live your dream, and are you able to play your golf a couple times a week, and what does that really mean to you?
Sure. Well, I'll start off with, people laughing at you, quote unquote, and people weren't pointing their fingers and laughing at me per se. You had a kind of like the rolling of the eyes, like, all right, you go get them, kid, but yeah, you tell me if you find it, like you said. I think you put it the right way. And, in life, as everyone knows, you have peaks and valleys, and life can beat you down at times, and everybody has different perspectives. And, I think as you get older, you learn to respect them, and you definitely don't know what somebody else is in their shoes. So when people have opinions like that, you can't necessarily understand where they're coming from, but you have to just kind of continue on, and it's tough. It's not easy. So when I say that, I tell that story, it's not people who are laughing at me. I have a very supportive family, and friends. But, yeah, there was that, oh, okay, you're going to play golf a couple of times a week. Sure, And it was, it was like one of those things where I didn't know what I wanted to do. At the time, I was 17, and it was a few years later when I was wrapping up college, I still had no idea what I was going to do. But in the back of my mind, I was like, be nice to just go play golf on a Wednesday or a Friday. And that always stuck with me.
Yeah.
Being able to have flexibility was really what I was striving for, whether it was golf or just going to the beach or going shopping on a Tuesday, or I don't have any kids, but being able to take your kids to school or events or whatever it might be. There's a lot of things that people really want to have their time. And that was, when I look back on it, that's what I was thinking. It just happened to come out in golf. And I do love golf. I do love to play golf. And how that kind of morphed into that was really about 3 years ago. I had go, what makes you happy? What do you like to do? And that was just kind of the top of the list, being out there and playing golf. And I was like, even if I just got out once a week, and I started to design my life more around that, just to be able to go do that during the week where it's less crowded, there's not as many people out, and weekends for golfers, as you may or may not know, it's brutal, especially if you're not playing at a private course. It's just long rounds, it eats up time, but you could go out and play that same round on a Tuesday afternoon and be done in much less time. So that's really how it started to focus me. It's how do I set up my life that I can do this? How do I set up things that I can do this? As far as, living your dream, for me personally, I think that's part of your actual journey, no matter where you are in life, is what's that mean to you? It can mean different to somebody for the first half of 2014 versus the second half. It constantly evolves. Do you need a bigger goal? Do you need a long-term thing? Absolutely. And those should include financial as well as things you want to do in the quote-unquote bucket list, and I get all that. But, when someone says live the dream, a couple of weeks ago, actually before Live the Dream, the event, I put in a couple of 80-hour weeks. They were long weeks. Would I classify that as living the dream? Yes and no, because during that time I was doing things that I wanted to do, but they were in massive action type phases. And to me, having the risk or, mitigated risk at some things that I do as far as in the entrepreneurial world, I like that. That gets me excited. If you put me in a room and it's from 9 to 5, I don't do well. It's just, I don't like that. My schedule doesn't work that way. So I think live the dream, if I'm living it, is being able to do the things you want. It doesn't mean that you get to just take days off all the time. It's just the work that I'm doing at least excites me and keeps my brain turned on. So I think that's the real main focus of it.
Well, that's one of the benefits, I think, of My Lead System Pro is the active community and the togetherness and the sharing of ideas that keeps us going. If we all work at home, we're in front of our computers and we aren't with people every single day, but we can be if we want to, and have that power of choice in this industry to make the choices. Do I want to work 80 hours these 2 weeks, or do I want to work 80 hours so I can play golf a couple times next week? But it all kind of is encompassed together, and I know there's many people out there searching at night for a solution to their financial, challenges that they're dealing with. So if you, and I know you do, you meet people all the time that are just starting out in the industry, what would you do what would you tell them, one of the first action steps that they could take to gain some traction in the home industry of MLM?
Sure. Well, in network marketing specifically, what I would suggest to anybody is, and everyone starts out this way, you're excited, you have an excitement level, and you see everything maybe for the first time, and you're like, wow, I really like this company, and I really like the people that I met so far. Maybe it's at a home party or, at a mini event or something like that, and you get really, really, really excited about it. And I think that's great. I think that's one of the things that the industry does, is it gives people hope and excitement about things that they could do, and they kind of see themselves in different roles. And that's cool, where a lot of people get that initial fear of doing anything is that they get overwhelmed. And it's a hard thing to kind of see when you're right in the middle of it. So if anybody was listening to this right now and they were looking to join a home business or get started, or they're just starting in one, is really, follow the instructions. It's almost as simple as that, where you have to get out of your own way and just go, okay, step one is this. I signed up and they need me to do this, this, and this. And, okay, I'm done. I placed my initial order. I contacted 4 or 5 people, and I'm going to show them the plan. And no matter what, even if they don't, I'm just going to get an opinion and move on from there. And, I think those initial first couple of days, first couple of hours, first couple of weeks are where people kind of overcomplicate things, where they want to get business cards, they want to set up everything, and they want to do everything. And all that stuff comes in time, and all that stuff is important. But the biggest thing is you should just get started on the small stuff. So go into your upline and say, okay, Marty, what do I need to do? And just listen to those first 3 things. And whether you want to do them or not, kind of shut your brain off and go, okay, this person, they got me into the business, and they're working with somebody who got them into the business. They must know something here. And kind of let go a little bit and just do those things. So bottom line is, if you're just starting out, is to listen to those things and plug into whatever community that you're in, and make sure that you're good. Community within that company, or community with, a bunch of internet marketers, or whatever that might be.
Right, I totally agree with you, and that kind of brings me to my next question is, when people are out there looking to sign up and join a network marketing company, I think they're looking for some leadership, somebody that can lead them along the path to success. So what do you feel is the value that you bring to your team? Is it the fact that you're more knowledgeable, more experienced? Did you kind of have to change the way you speak to people? Did you have to become a better listener? Talk to me a little bit about the value that you can bring to your team.
It's a really,
and what
really,
that looks
really,
like.
that's a really good question. First off, and what did I have to change? What did I have to do? I will tell you about my first experience real quick, and then I'll tell you what I had to do. So I got into a company, and as I mentioned before, I was a recruiter or headhunter. So picking up the phone and talking to people in mass real fast was something that I was really good at. And I saw it. I saw everything. Everything clicked for me within network marketing, and I was like so excited. And I did. I called everybody that I knew, fast and furious. I got, people in a room, and I quickly had a team of about 23 people, customers and people that wanted to build a business. It was fast. Problem was, I had no idea what I was doing. I was literally ignorance on fire. I thought I knew what I was supposed to do, and I thought I knew this, I thought I knew that, and I didn't. And it was a hard lesson to learn. That was almost 5.5 years ago. And I had it, and I was starting to get, Marty's a quick rising star, and he sponsored 23 people, and, I had all this stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm getting it. But all those people then turned to me and go, okay, Marty, we got it, we're in, now what? I had no idea. And, that happens a lot for people to get orphaned, so to speak, and I was orphaned a little bit by my upline, but it was was the case where he didn't know what to do. And what I had to change to actually become somebody that I could provide value to was really change my whole philosophy. I was treating it as, okay, these people are in and now they want to work. Well, yeah, they wanted to work, but they had no idea what to do. And for me, I was like, well, I just picked up the phone and called all of you. Well, that doesn't come natural to everybody that was in that group, right? I mean, that's not something that they had a skill set in. And I quickly realized that, wow, I needed to, if I wanted to do this and do it right, I had to learn some skills. I had to do a lot of self-development. I had to look at myself and say, wow, no wonder why nobody wants to, hang out with you, because you're kind of authoritarian in a certain way. Or you're telling people what to do, not how to do it. You're expecting them to just know how to do it, and that's not fair. So just getting a taste of that experience, what I had to change was I really had to look at myself. What type of leader did I want to be? Was I a leader? Did I have the skills to be a leader? And really start to put myself out there and fix some of those areas. And the reason I like this profession and this industry of home-based business is that it did make me go into self-development. It did make me continually learn. It did make me open books again. Stuff that I had read when I was doing some real estate stuff and building that career, I didn't take serious, and I'm like, I already read, Think and Grow Rich, or I already read How to Win Friends and Influence People, but did I really study it? Did I really actually apply it? I just read it. And, what really gives me a value there is having that experience that I've gone through. And since then, I've sought out different mentors, different people that got me on the right path. And, it sounds crazy, if somebody asked me, would you want to sponsor 23 people in a row, most people would say yes. Wouldn't you agree, Cher? I mean, if you asked that question to somebody, they would say yes. I would say no. And I would say no because I couldn't handle all of that at once. Now, could I handle it now? To a certain degree, I could. To a certain degree, I could, because have gotten better at building teams around me. So I have now the support of a team to go out and get 5 or 6 more personal reps that I could be like, yes, you want to plug into this person, and yes, so-and-so is doing phone training this week. So I started to learn how to truly leverage the time through the people that are on my team and help them grow while it's helping me grow. And that's really what the beauty of it is everybody wants to help each other, not step on each other. And I know this is a long-winded answer to the question, but I think it's important just to understand where I came from in order what I actually had to change. People talk about change. Well, I lived through it, had a lot of egg on my face through people that know, like, and trust me at the time, and they still do. Nobody yells at me or throws eggs at me for the experience, but, it was something that I had to, fix some bridges, so to speak, after the fact. It made me look in the mirror, and it was a great growth experience.
Sure. Well, I know it's so true. They say to become the leader you would like to follow, and I think in order for a lot of people like myself to do that, it takes a lot of personal development, and it takes a lot of shift in your mindset. And so I think it's really important to spend 30 minutes a day on personal development. It keeps you going. It helps your team, and I don't know. Mindset's a big key in this industry, because you can get down so easily and so fast, but that's also where your team comes in as well, and helping out each other.
Absolutely.
Getting to the event that I think I had just an awesome time meeting everybody, and you included. I think it's important to attend any of the events, like whether it's your company events, your seminars, webinars, online events. Would you agree with that?
100%. Two things I'll point out. One, I'm an event junkie to a certain extent, and there's a couple of reasons for that. And use that term because not that I'm addicted to it in a bad way. it's where really a lot of the relationships and actions just happen. And they happen without a lot of effort. And it's really easy to meet new people. So if you're at your own company event and you're going there and you have people that are like-minded that are already going through some similar challenges that you might be facing. So it's really easy to start talking to somebody about that. And other events that might be generic, where you have a bunch of network marketers in a room, what you quickly realize is, when sometimes you think the grass is greener at some other company, you meet somebody and they're having the same issues you are in your company, where whatever that issue might be, and you can commiserate a little bit and you can learn from each other. I think those are great. And then ultimately, every business I've ever been in, doesn't matter what it is, it all comes down to people. Everything comes to relationships, and the best place to cultivate those relationships are really at events, because you get to sit down with somebody, maybe have a cocktail or lunch or breakfast or a cup of coffee. You get to know them, and, it really works out later on. I have a lot of friendships that were born out of events. My current mentor I met on a bus going to a generic network marketing event, and him and I just hit it off. And then we didn't talk to each other for almost 3.5 years. And then he and I connected through an actual mutual friend we didn't know we were actually both friends with. And as soon as he said his name, I'm like, yeah, I know Dave. I met him, blah, blah, blah. I knew it right away. And we got on the phone, and we started talking, and I didn't know he had all this success, and he's right around the corner from me.
Oh,
and I'm like,
it's a small world, isn't it?
I know, it's super small. Here I had to fly all the way to Texas to meet somebody that lives 45 minutes away from me, not even, and had everything at his fingertips that I really wanted. And now I'm working together with him. So, it's weird, but those events, putting yourself out there and going, and, people talk about costs and things like that, and I understand, and not everybody's in a position there, but, a few sacrifices here or there, and you can get there and you buddy up and you share rooms. Those events are very impactful, and they can absolutely change your life. I'm a product of going to those events.
Yeah, I agree. This was really my first event that I had been to, and I was overwhelmed, really. I was overwhelmed at the generosity of the leaders sharing and actually mingling with us. I really was overwhelmed in a good way. I just was really astonished at how open and honest everybody was about their business and about learning and about mindset and about sharing and really wanting to help others. So, that's not going to be my last one for sure. I could easily become an event junkie in a good way, too. Well, I don't want to take up all your time, but do you have any funny stories?
Oh, funny stories?
Yeah, you have any funny stories along the way on your journey?
I have a lot that, always come to mind. If somebody asks that, I think I want to share one that I think has the most value. And maybe we do another call sometime where I will share with you some funny ones. But it was early on in my network marketing career, and it's one of the things that I've been focusing my marketing on now after learning this big lesson that I've been focusing things on, where you get into this industry and people are like, oh, quit your job and got to get out of the rat race and all that. And I was definitely the person on fire about telling people about getting out of their jobs, which I'm still passionate about, but in a different way. And I was on a call, and I was talking to this woman who was referred to me, and it was going very, very, very well. She had already been in a network marketing company. She was looking for a new one. She had a small team. She loved the product that, it was, and some of the other things about the company. And she was past kicking tires. She was to the point where it was like a prospect where you're like, wow, this could be somebody that changes my business and we can work together. Not just for whatever, monetary gain and team growth and all that. It was where they had a skill set that I was like, I'm lacking this. This is an awesome addition to my team. And she goes, all this sounds really good. I want to get, things rolling here. My thing is I have to go to work in the next 45 minutes, and then, we'll take care of everything after that. Well, in open mouth, insert foot, I was like, oh, yeah, you can't get out of your job, and you don't have time for that, and you don't this, that, the other thing. It must suck that you have to go for 45 minutes. Instead of just shutting up, I said all that stuff, kind of bad-mouthing her job, not specifically, but just in the general sense, because kind of like what the mentality is sometimes in the industry, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I was caught up in it. And she stops and she goes, oh, no, I will never quit my job. And I then took that as even a further part. Well, you don't understand. There's so much money here. You could do this. You could do that. You already have a team. We have everything set up. And she goes, no, Marty, you don't understand. I'm a neonatal nurse. I take care of premature babies, and I'll spend 36 hours holding them and talking to them and, making sure they're okay, and I'll stay awake, and then I'll be back there in another week, but I'll do 40 hours on, 40 hours off, and taking care of them shifts, and I'll never quit my job. It's too important. And I just remember, just being in shock, because I was like, well, yeah, no kidding. We need people like you in the world. And everything went south from there. And, when you ask for funny stories, I have tons of them. But I think the real funny part of that is I got caught up in being the character that I'm not.
Yeah.
And that it just overtook me. And it was a valuable lesson for me to learn, because that person, I'm not going to mention her name, but that person is building a company right now, and she's one of the top earners, and she could have been on my team at that time. And, I just kind of lost it a little bit. And it doesn't classify as what I would call funny, but I think it has a real purpose to educating somebody about, what we do, why we do it. She was looking for additional money so that she could send her kids to school. And, she's like, I love the industry, and I have plenty of time when I'm not working to do stuff and go out and meet people and talk to people. And she was super excited about that. So not necessarily funny, but I think it's pretty valuable.
Very good lesson to learn how we speak to people and the assumptions that we make.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Marty, I so appreciate your insight and all your valuable thoughts, and I know everybody listening to this will, and just thank you again for your generosity and your time. I really appreciate it, and I think this call is going to be a wrap.
Well, good, Cher, and I appreciate your time, and I just want to say a couple things in closing, if that's okay. First off,
please,
if anyone's listening to this call, I just want to share with everybody a story about Cher. She saw my story, and she came up to me and was trying to get a hold of me, and then I had people at the event saying, oh, so-and-so is trying to get a hold of you. I'm like, who? And then I looked on Facebook on my phone, and it was Cher. And I'm like, okay. And I'm getting pulled in every which direction. And I'm like, I got to find this woman. I got to talk to her. She wants to talk to me. I'm like, that'd be rude if I didn't find her. And she's like, sends me a message, says, I have something you might want. And I was like, all right. I was kind of like, well, we'll see what this is about. And because you never know sometimes. But I was like, all right. Cool. And she gave me a Tiger Woods hat, and she told me a story, and you can find out about that, but she made an effort just to make a connection. And to anybody listening to this, when you go to events or if you're on the phone with somebody, that's really what this business is all about, is making a connection with somebody. Any business really is about making a connection with somebody on some level. In the network marketing, internet marketing, or home-based business, the one thing that's really, really, really cool about it at its core is more people are looking to help somebody than they are looking to hurt somebody. Now, there's also bad apples in every basket, but the underlying thing is more people want to pull you up. So don't be afraid to make a connection with somebody or talk to somebody at an event, or even reach out via Facebook or, some other method where you're just saying, could I have 2 minutes of your time? I know you're busy, but you said something on a video or said something on your blog. You'd be shocked how many people will get back to you. It may not be that second. It may not be that week. But over time, people will absolutely get back to you. And I think that's important. And the last thing I'll say is if you are listening to this, definitely check out Cher. She's getting started. She's doing some things. She's reaching out and creating content like this by, getting me on here to just record and get some other ideas out there to help her team and the people that she's attracting in this marketplace. So absolutely check her out, as she continues to grow. And if you're not in MLSP, it's a phenomenal training community that is really just that. It's a community. So I hope you get some value out of this. And thank you, Cher, for having me.
You're welcome, Marty. Thanks again.
You're welcome.